my creative community. It's good to be back with you again. I've taken just a short hiatus and tried to sort out exactly what I was going to be doing in the next year on my YouTube channel. And as usual, I kind of went inside and looked for some answers, which I often do through meditation or just being quiet and waiting to see what comes forth. And one morning I woke up and I kind of like to enter the day gently. So I was lying in bed, kind of half asleep, half awake, dreamy, in that dreamy state. And all of a sudden, the words cracking open came to me. And I went, okay, that's it. That's exactly what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to crack myself open for myself and for you to witness. I know it sounds a bit dramatic and it may even sound a bit scary, but I'm looking forward to diving deep in my art journal and discovering new ways to express myself, express my inner being, my true self, my authentic self, and at the same time, presenting some new techniques and some new ideas for you if you decide that it's time for you to crack open too. So I was out shopping the other day. Does anybody remember this? It's Turkish taffy. And when I was a kid, I used to love this stuff. Of course, it probably would pull my fillings out and everything else. But up here on the top, it says, smack it and crack it. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, I feel pieces in there, so I'm going to change the camera to overhead, and we'll talk a little bit more about what it means to crack open and what indeed we're going to be cracking open, hopefully through the next year. So I'm going to flip the camera. Okay, let's see what happened and how much cracking happened. Don't you love that sound? Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Little pieces and bigger pieces. And look, cracking open, cracking apart, cracking. I told my friend of mine that my word for the year, which indeed this is what I'm saying, my word for the year is cracking open. And she said, "What? You mean cracking up?" I said, "No." I was talking to her on the phone. I said, cracking open, not cracking up. Well, we went into hysterical giggles for a while. But anyway, I'm going to be cracking open lots of things this year. To do that, I'm going to be using different strategies in order to crack open the way to creativity. And where does that creativity live? Your creativity can be inspired by lots of different things. But first, I want to be able to go to the part of my being, my soul, or my psyche, and see just what might be hiding there. You know, your soul, and I believe everyone has a soul, I believe everything has a soul, is a mysterious place. And, you know, we may not know exactly where it resides, but wherever it resides, it holds many, many riches for us to explore and to honor and to discover. And that's what I'm going to do with you today. Offer you a way to connect with the part of your brain. Some people feel that the psyche resides in the brain, although it's not accessible, consciously accessible, but we do know that it speaks to us. It speaks to us through our dreams. It speaks to us through our daydreams. It speaks to us through our imagination. So, in order to access that, I've been thinking about strategies that I've used in the past. You know, I spent a number of years teaching in public schools and in college, teaching strategies to art teachers to reach the imagination and the creativity of their students. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of that this year. To tell you the truth, at the beginning of December, I started feeling a bit stuck. And I started researching and kind of dove into my own resources and resources of others in order to find a way to get unstuck. All artists, I think, experience this at one time or another. And I discovered something called neurographics or neurographica. And I have been doing some neurographic drawing. And if you want to learn more about this, I'll put some links below in the description box. But it was created, it was a technique created by a Russian psychotherapist who was also a psychologist, who was also in his first career an architect. So he was used to working with lines and circles and squares and triangles, but in a very, very logical way. One that he learned using the resources of his instructors and his brain, and was able to create drawings of houses, of buildings, and make them become real on paper. And what he devised as a psychologist is a way to get in touch with the parts of your brain, the synapses within your brain that are part of the soul part of you, the part that we may not really know a lot about, because quite frankly, we're, especially in this day and age, we aren't taught in school, and we're not teaching in school how to use our imaginations. When I left the school systems, the STEM curriculum was being used and introduced, and basically students who are in school, and I know entire states have adapted this, are part of a teaching that concentrates on STEM. And basically, they're taught science, they're taught math, they're taught logical thinking, they are taught everything that is accepted in our world today in order to get a job. And most of that is great. You know, it's great to be taught that knowledge. But there's another entire area that is being pretty much ignored now. And that area is the arts and literature, dance, music, visual arts, all of those things that stimulate creativity and imagination. And that's being swept aside. And unfortunately, it's up to us as humans on this planet to keep that knowledge alive and growing and creating and imagining, because I think that the arts and the imagination and creativity is what will truly save this planet. And I'm going to do what I can in order to help you. And I know a lot of you are accomplished artists that follow my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome. I'm so glad to see you back. And some of you may be brand new. So this year I'm going to be offering a lot of different techniques, a lot of different strategies in order to stimulate imagination, stimulate creativity. And you'll find that the way I'm going to go about it, you will also be telling your story, your authentic story about who you are, what you love in the deepest parts of you, and you'll be able to make those things real through visual art. And I'm really excited. And let's get started. I told you that I had been reading and watching videos about neurographic art. And I've been working in this sketchbook to do some preliminary drawings. And this is the first one I did. And when I first started working with neurographic lines, it reminded me of my automatic drawings that I did. I started doing these back in 2004. And I'll show you a few of those drawings. Okay, this is one of the automatic drawings that I did, and and we will do these. We'll work up to creating automatic drawings, but I started all of these lines in here came from kind of my doodles and scribbles that I did with my eyes closed. And then I went in and erased the lines that were not part of this drawing that I saw within those lines. Now, I would never be able to create this by looking. I called this Cool Catalana. I would never be able to create this out of from a picture or looking at something, or because it's all totally from my unconscious mind. It's from my imagination. And the same with this one. This one I called Mayan Crows Stepping Out. And I just am amazed at the images that came out of the scribbles. And this one, let's see. It was then that he revealed his secret. And everyone then understood why Count Elvis was never spotted after the dawning of the sun. So I went on and did automatic drawing for a number of years. And then I turned a number of my drawings into paintings. And this is mother and child. This one is just absolutely amazing. I don't know where she came from, but the title is It's My Turn. And then this image. You know, what in the world? So as I look at it, I was getting messages and images. This one's called Nightmare. From my imagination, from my psyche, from my unconscious mind. They're very dreamlike images. And then came the dancers. And then, oops, another set of dancers. And this is the rat stabber. And finally, one of my favorite ones is my crow and this kind of frowning woman riding on the back of her crow. So if you look at these lines, they're very rounded, most of them. And when I started doing the neographics, it reminded me a lot of my automatic drawings. But let's get back to what we're going to do today. You need a piece of paper. You can use copy paper, you can use drawing paper. This happens to be drawing paper. You can use mixed media paper, whatever you would like to use. And I have a kind of medium point Sharpie pen, and I have a thin point Sharpie pen. And this is a pilot pen that is even a thinner point. I probably won't use this one, but I'll show you a few of my drawings. I'll tell you what, I'm going to turn it this way because this is the way it was drawn, and you don't move your paper around too much, especially when you're doing the initial drawing. You're not really supposed to move your paper at all. Now, this is regular drawing paper. The marker will bleed through. And in this one, I only used Neurographic lines. Okay, I didn't, let's see, did I? Yes, I went back in after I did all the line drawings and I added some circles here and here and here and here and here. And I see something that I forgot. you go in after you do all of your lines, and your lines go off the edge of the paper ultimately. And then you do what's called rounding any corners. So that softens all of the lines and connects everything. So ultimately, everything in this piece of artwork is connected. And I found as I was working on this that I was very relaxed and calming. It's very calming to do this. So I know that I was taking something that was inside of me and making it real, making it move. There's a lot of movement in these drawings. So I was taking something from inside myself and transforming it into something real, something I could hold on to, something I could see. And then this is the second one I did. And these obviously are only lines. I haven't added any color yet, which will be the next step. But again, everything in here, in this drawing, is connected. And I really, what started coming to me was through these last 2 years, we've really been disconnected from so many people and so much of life, having to stay home, stay in our homes, and even wearing a mask kind of disconnects you from other people. People can't see you smile. They can't see your face, really. They can see your eyes. But unless you have very, very expressive eyes, people, when they look at you, aren't connecting with you. So I started feeling a connectedness to all of these lines, which made me feel better. I liked feeling that connection. And then I started working on a third one, and this one is not finished yet. This one is finished as far as the lines go. Now in this one, once I finished the lines, I went in and added this circle and this circle and this circle, and then these little circles in here. And that seemed to balance out my drawing, and added even more motion to the drawing. And then finally, I was working on this one. And this one, I did all of my lines, and then I went in and decided to add even more circles. So this was a circle I added, this was a circle, this was a circle, here's another circle, here's a circle, here's a circle. You can see this circle, 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 circle. And there are 2 more down here and 1 over here. Now, when I added the circles, I overlapped the lines or touched the lines. so that everything still remained connected. And I think you can see that. So this one, I have finished rounding all of the edges. And remember, in our collages, I'm always looking at the edges. And here's one that I missed right there. I was always looking at the edges and making sure that my collages flowed and there weren't any really, really harsh edges that disconnected from the rest of the piece. So I'm going to show you how I started these drawings. Now, I did mine freehand because I've spent a lot of time in my life working with my imagination, working in the arts, and teaching others how to find their imagination, to stimulate their creativity and everything. But this might be new to you. And even if it's not, you might want to try this in order to start drawing your lines. Because your lines, these neurographic lines, you're not, thinking about them and deciding, having control over the line is not what this is all about. This is about letting your subconscious mind, your psyche, your soul, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, lead you through the drawing. And that might be really hard at first for you to grasp exactly what I'm talking about. So this is one way that you can start. I have some coins here of different sizes and weights. And I thought this was just the greatest idea in order to start a drawing and not think about or not have any control over the line that you make. Because what you're going to be doing is pushing this coin around your paper. And as you see, even with my finger, it is changing direction. And I don't have any control over it. I'm just following it. So that's what we're going to do. Now, you may want to get centered to start this. You might want to put on some soft music. I like to work in quiet. You might want to take 2 or 3 deep breaths. Put your feet on the floor before you start drawing. And you can place your coin anywhere that you want to on any side of the paper to start your drawing. And let's see what happens. I'm going to try and keep my hand out of the way. But I am pushing this coin and following it wherever it goes. Now, you want to go slowly. You don't want to go real speedy, and your lines can look jerky. That's fine. Now these sharp edges I don't want. And I'll tell you why they happened, because I was trying to outthink my coin and what direction it was going to go in. Okay. So that's my first line. When that was a penny. So let's try this nickel. It's a little bit heavier. And let's see if the line is any different. That didn't last very long, did it? Let's try the quarter. I'm going to start over here on this side. Okay, now I have the dime. So let's start the dime over here. Okay. Okay, so this is my first drawing with the narrow lines. And because I have some sharp edges here, and I need to smooth those out because I don't want sharp edges. That kind of shows some conflict, and what I'm trying to do is calm and relax. Now, if I look at this, I have a line going, I have 1, 2, 3 lines, 4 lines off that side, 1 line off of this side, 2 lines off of this side, and 1 line off of that side. So I think that I'm trying to balance this design now. And because balance and harmony, that's another reason I wanted to not have any sharp zigzags or triangles or anything like that. I wanted this to be harmonious and balanced. So I have this area over here that's really open, and then I have this area that's really, really busy. So I think what I'm going to do is add a circle over here. Now, the circles that you're going to draw are going to be freehand circles. Okay, and it's okay if they're wobbly or not perfectly circular. It's all right, but I'm going to draw a circle here, and that broke up that space a bit. And I'm going to draw a circle here. And then I'm going to draw a circle here. Now, you can go around and try and make your circle even more regular circle shape if you want to. Or you can practice circles on another page. Or you can practice circles in the air. And when you feel like you've drawn that balanced, pleased with, You can make it smaller and smaller, and when you're ready, you can draw that circle. Okay? And I really like the way the small circles look when I draw them side by side. It kind of reminds me of pearls or toes. And to me, that, you can do that over and over and over again. It's a very, very, to me, meditative action. And my thing about having uh, three things that are repeated, that it tends to keep you moving through your picture, your collage, or whatever, and or at least have an odd number. And right now I have 4 circles, the bigger circles, and I'm thinking I need a 5th one, and I feel it needs to be over here. Okay. And you can add other lines in here if you feel like you need more connection, or if you feel like you need to connect your image more to the outside edges of your artwork. It's like this. I feel like it needs to go down here. But now I have this corner here, so I need to round that off. And I might find where I need to add more lines or more circles. But then what I do is I take my smaller Sharpie pen and go in and start rounding off these areas where my lines overlap. So I'm even making more of a connection among all of these lines. And you notice I get very quiet. And you can actually put yourself into a very meditative state doing this. And you don't have to hurry. But you go through and connect all of these areas by rounding where the images or lines intersect. You can use whatever you have. Any kind of paper, so that it's plain, whatever it is that you're, should be blank, whatever it is you're working on or working with. Okay, this is as far as I'm going to take this today. Because it will take quite a while for you to do all of the connections and the rounding of the edges. And if you're interested in learning more about this particular technique or strategy, I believe in the videos that I've watched, they call it logarithms. I'll put some links down below, because this is not what I'm going to be doing in my journal. It's just a good way to start the dive down deeper into my psyche and into my soul, and not have my work be governed by my logical thinking part of my brain, but to let that other mysterious part of my brain start to come forth. And when you're finished, all of your lines and your circles, and I would just stick with lines and circles this time. Tell me what you think it looks like. What is it? What images come up in your mind? What do you think it looks like? And I'd like to see if you'd write your answer about what your neurographic lines looked like when you were working on them and when you finished them, and also how do you feel when you're finished? I know I hear a change in my voice, in the speed that I'm talking and the sound of my voice. So I want to thank you for joining me in this first video of 2022. I hope that everyone has a wonderful, creative new year, and let's crack up or crack open some new parts of ourselves and some new stories and some new books and all those things. You might want to make a list of what you would like to crack open. Now, if cracking open doesn't resonate with you and you want to come up with your own word of the year, please do. You know, you may have already chosen a word for the year. And maybe you want to apply the techniques and strategies I'll be showing you in order to discover more things about your word of the year and what it really, really means to you. Because for me, this year is going to be a year where I am continuing to crack open my psyche, to continue to learn new things and have fun at the same time. So I want to wish you all many blessings, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to smack it and hopefully crack it. Oh, things are falling. Well, maybe I needed to put it in the freezer.